I remember coming across this story a few weeks ago and I posted about it. And the reason it caught my eye at the time was because it was a femicide, but also it mentioned that their 2 year old son or a child that was very young, I can't remember the age now, was the one that was woken up by his mother's screams and he would have witnessed what happened. So, absolutely horrific. But his story at the time was she had done this to herself, that she was depressed, and this was suicide. Now, more details about this event and what happened leading up to it have been reported now that he has been found guilty of murder, which is the right verdict. He came up with all sorts of elaborate stories to try and get away with it. But one of the things that really stood out for me when I was reading the article was the dynamic in their relationship. And it reminded me of conversations I've had in various parts, either with people who engage with my content or stories around this sort of relationship between domestic abuse and situations in relationships where traditional patriarchal gender roles have been reversed. Now, that could happen because the woman is thriving and taking space in that relationship. I mean, it's happening globally anyway. Or it could be just something's happened and the man's been unemployed. He doesn't have a job anymore. And the relationship between the two, that there's a lot of research showing that domestic abuse does actually either start or increase in situations like that because of these traditional patriarchal conditioning that men have about their role, and the loss of that role and domestic abuse becomes a way of asserting dominance and control. And if you read this article and their relationship and what was going on, he'd become unemployed, she was the main breadwinner, and you can see that some of that was playing out or could have played out in the background. But it is a thing in relationships where women report that I started doing well, I got a good job, I started earning more than him, and I started to get the abuse. That started to escalate. He is due for sentencing next week. The knife was found in her home, by the way. So this is going to be another one of those examples where he's going to get 10 years off his sentence. So the starting tariff will be 15 and not 25.